Honourable second member for Rivière-des-Anguilles-Souillac. Yes?
Thank you, Madam. Question B462, please.
Madam Speaker, as regards to Part A of the question, I'm informed by the Bank of Mauritius that the Mauritius Investment Corporation Ltd has acquired from Omnicane 3 plots of land for a total of 172 acres in Constituency No. 13, Rivière-des-Anguilles-Souillac, which was the constituency of the previous Minister of Finance. The extent and location of each plot of land are as follows: 38.4 acres at Richebois, 61 acres at Britannia, and 72.6 acres at Terre. A management contract was entered between the MIC and Omnicane for the latter to plant and harvest the sugarcane and to process into cane sugar and other products, as well as in the management of the sugarcane fields. That is, in between harvesting and during harvesting, against a small fee paid to the MIC. Madam Speaker, concerning Part C of the question, I wish to inform the House that in view of the ramifications regarding the portfolio of the MIC, the Bank of Mauritius is currently examining different options for the restructuring of the MIC, including the optimal use of land assets acquired under very dubious conditions for more than 10 billion rupees from Beejan Sugar Estate and Omnicane. Furthermore, looking at the price paid for the plots of land purchased by the MIC in various locations, this will be submitted to the government valuer for the latter to ascertain whether it was value for money.
Yes, Mr. Jhummun.
Thank you,
Too
Madam.
many things happening at the same time. Please.
Étant un vrai démocrate, I know that the Honourable Prime Minister will inform the House about the information containing in the management contract, whether it has been done in such a way that it favors the MIC or it is one-sided, favoring only the companies. Thank you.
Yes,
We will
Honourable
certainly
Prime Minister.
look into that, including the valuation of the plots of lands.
Yes, Honourable second member for Grand-Bay Poudre d'Or. Mr. Beejan? No? I'm sorry. Honourable third member for Port Louis North and North Island, Mr. Caserne.
Speaker, PQB 463, please.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed that there have been several verbal and written complaints regarding the deplorable state of the Terre Rouge civil status sub-office situated at Hochet. The Safety and Health section of the Ministry of Public Service and Administration Reforms has also highlighted the poor state of the building and has made specific recommendations to improve the working environment thereof. The Honourable Member himself made a surprise visit, I believe, and he saw for himself. The Civil Status Division had on several occasions requested the lessor to undertake the necessary renovations. Unfortunately, no action was taken by the lessor. Consequently, 2 tender exercises were launched by the Civil Status Division in 2018 and 2021 respectively to identify alternate premises that comply with safety and health standards and are strategically located near key facilities such as the police station, post office, bus stop, etc., to ensure accessibility to the public. However, both exercises were unsuccessful. Subsequently, the Civil Status Division has conducted several site visits in the region to identify a suitable location for the sub-office. An office space located within the Terre Rouge Village Council multipurpose complex has now been found to be suitable for that purpose. An agreement has been reached with the Pamplemousses District Council for the allocation of the office space, and the council is now renovating the building. It is expected that the sub-office will be able to move to the new premises by August of this year.
Yes, you're happy? Yes, Honourable second member for Rivière-des-Anguilles and Souillac again.
Merci. Question B464, s'il vous plaît.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Financial Crimes Commission that Mr. N.B, former Director General of the Independent Commission Against Corruption, proceeded to London on 3 occasions in connection with the hearing of the Privy Council for the Medpoint case. In 2018, Mr. Bikari proceeded twice to London, and from the 28th of September to 7th of October, and from 21st to 28th of November. As for 2019, he traveled to London from the 12th to the 20th of January. These missions were approved by the board of the then ICAC, which board was chaired by Mr. Bikari himself. In accordance with Section 19(3)(b) of the Repeal Prevention of Corruption Act, he did not recuse himself, I must say. And when the decision on his mission was being discussed and subsequently approved by the board, where he was himself there. This is a blatant case of conflict of interest. What was equally contemptible was his presence at the Privy Council, despite the fact that the Privy Council, through correspondence dated 13th of December 2018, Lord Kerr directed that ICAC's application to make oral submission be refused. He wasn't given permission. In spite of that, he proceeded on mission to London, accompanied by Mr. Rupchan, acting chief legal advisor, and Mr. Sohan, attorney at law. Madam Speaker, what should also be recalled is that Mr. Navin Bikari changed his original stand, which was in favor of prosecution in the Medpoint case. He changed his opinion a few days before the sitting of the Privy Council. The total cost, Madam Speaker, of the missions undertaken by Mr. Bikari, Mr. Rupchan and Mr. Sohan for the hearing of the Privy Council in connection with the Medpoint case amounted to 1,373,990 rupees and 2 cents for a mission that the Privy Council said they would not be able to do oral submissions.
Okay. Now it's Honourable Second Member for Grand-B Poudre d'Or.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B465.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Honourable Member for asking the question. This is yet another, every week we see this, another example of cronies of the previous government benefiting from contracts awarded by public bodies. I'm informed by the Economic Development Board that its head office shifted to 7 Exchange Square building in Eben in December of 2022. Now, a tender exercise was launched in October of 2018, even before the building was constructed. The tender exercise was started, as if they knew the building would be there. All the other bidders in the tender exercise were found to be non-responsive, and only PSH Investment Ltd was qualified and awarded the contract. As regards Part A of the question, the EDB signed a lease agreement with PSH Investment Ltd, which is the owner of the building, on the 9th of August 2019 for 5,000 square meters of office space and 130 parking slots. As per the lease agreement signed, the building was to be delivered in December 2020 and rent payable from February 2021. But the office space was actually delivered in October 2022. That is a delay of almost 2 years. On the 30th of May 2024, the ADB signed a second lease agreement with PSH Investment for an additional office space of 170 square meters at the ground floor of the same building, and also for 2 additional parking slots. Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Corporate and Business Registration Department that PSH Investment Limited is fully owned by NG Holdings Ltd, and the sole shareholder of NH Holdings Ltd is Mr. Vinash Gopi. Concerning Part B of the question, the EDB started paying rent for the office building as from December 2022, which is when it started occupying the building. The total amount of rent paid by EDB from December 2022 to date is 104.9 million rupees. In addition, an amount of 7.2 million rupees has been paid for syndic fees. Regarding Part C of the question, the House may wish to note that the main conditions of the lease agreements are as follows. 1, the minimum lease period for the first lease agreement is 10 years, and the second lease agreement is 8 years and 6 months. 2, the monthly rental is 625 rupees, excluding of VAT, per square meter for the first lease and 1,147 rupees per square meter for the second lease. So in other words, the prices have jumped. As from December 2027, the rental must be reviewed every 2 years based on the increase in the consumer price index. Fourth, up to November 2027, the contracts may be terminated by giving 4 months' notice, but the EDB must pay the rental from the date of cancellation up to the expiry of the initial lease period. And fifth, after November 2027, the contract may be terminated by giving 4 months' notice, and they will then be not required to pay any further rental. I'm tabling a copy of the 2 lease agreements.
Yes, you're right. Yes, the Honourable First Member for La Caserne Phoenix, Mr. Lobine.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. B467, please.
Madam Speaker, the contribution Sociale Généralisée was introduced in September 2020, and the contribution to the National Pensions Fund were accordingly abolished. The CSG was introduced by way of regulations, and subsequently the Social Contribution and Social Benefits Act was enacted in 2021 to provide for the levy of CSG and payment of the benefits. The rates of CSG contribution in respect to an employee earning up to 50,000 rupees a month are 1.5% and 3% of basic salary for the employee and his employer, respectively. As regards to an employee earning above 50,000 rupees a month, the rates of contribution are 3% and 6%. I'm informed by the Mauritius Revenue Authority that since September 2020 to the end of April 2025, a total amount of 44.6 billion rupees has been collected as CSG contributions and remitted to the consolidated fund. The yearly breakdown is as follows: 5.25 billion in financial year 2020-2021, 8.35 billion in financial year 2021-2022, 9.51 billion in financial year 2022-2023, 10.9 billion in the financial year 2023-2024, and 10.6 billion in the current financial year as at April of 2025. With regards to Part A of the question, a number of benefits are being paid for various schemes and measures under the Social Contribution and Social Benefits Act. For the period 2021 to the end of April 2025, a total amount of 34 billion rupees has been spent under these schemes and measures. In addition, a total amount of 10.7 billion has been paid for allowance to the public sector employees, as well as meeting government contribution to the CSG. Madam Speaker, as far as Part B of the question is concerned, from a budgeting point of view, there is no remaining balance as at the end of April 2025. Let me remind the House that of a reply to PQB 1248 on the 24th of October 2023, the previous Minister of Finance said, and I quote, "Il ne reste donc rien par rapport aux contributions de la CSG." Unquote. At that very time itself, they had already depleted all the funds from the CSG. Madam Speaker, I'm tabling a breakdown of the funds collected and spent as at the end of April 2025. It must be noted that the previous government had engaged in the provision of a series of allowances from funds coming from the CSG, especially during the month preceding the last elections, in a clear attempt to lure the voters. This is yet an example of how the CSG funds had been dilapidated by the previous regime in their desperation to try to win the elections.
Yes, Mr. Bichuk.
Well, we all know that the CSG system is what has destroyed the French social security system, and the fact that Mauritius is an aging population. Has there been any study to understand till which date the current system is a sustainable one?
Before study is done, we know it's going to be disastrous because, as you say, we have an aging population. We are looking at all this in the context of the budget.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Lobine, you're okay? All right. Now we have the fourth member for Port Louis North and Montagnong, Mr. Duval.
Yes, B468.
I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that the Safe City project came into operation on the 19th of August 2019 and is operating under the provisions of the Data Protection Act, which is in line with the European Union General Data Protection Regulation requirements. Prior to the implementation of the Safe City project, a certificate was issued under Section 44(4) of the Data Protection Act, exempting the Mauritius Police Force from the application of certain sections of the Data Protection Act in the interest of the national and public security. These sections pertain, among others, to the collection, access, and communication of personal data. On the 10th of November 2020, the Mauritius Police Force has been registered as the data controller by the Data Protection Act, by the Data Protection Office. On August 2023, the registration certificate has been renewed up to July 2026.
Yes?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, can the Prime Minister confirm that under the exceptions which apply to the Safe City project, no sanctions can be taken by the Data Protection Office for contraventions being done at the level of the Mauritius Police Force, if there are any?
Madam Speaker, the right of privacy is guaranteed by our Constitution. This is not an absolute right, but the same article also provides for exceptions in the interest of public safety and security. So the Constitution already gives the right of privacy, which is guaranteed.
No, if I may, I think the question was that the commissioner, the data commissioner, could not prosecute. Is that your question? That was the question, that the data protection commissioner cannot prosecute. I would...
If I may have another question.
Okay, go with another question.
Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister will agree that the risks of having a project like the Safe City operating in a legal vacuum, there are huge risks with regards to safeguard of personal data and risk of abuses. The Prime Minister himself has complained in the past of Safe City cameras being positioned in front of his office, which have now been removed specifically for espionage and not for the legitimate detection of crime. This is the reason why there is a need for a specific legislation.
No, question.
Rephrase it. Will the Prime Minister agree that there is a need for a specific legislation which provides for accountability and for sanctions and prosecution of offenders of the controllers and those users? And we have seen in the past how we have seen in the past the risk of abuses.
Don't make statements.
So will he not agree?
Every time I tell you this, put a question. Put a question, not statements.
Stop helping him.
Let me remind the Honourable Member, you joined the government. The Safe City came into operation on the 19th of August 2019. I didn't hear you say anything then. You didn't. You accepted post, you became the Deputy Speaker. But in any case, I said it very clearly in the House that there is no espionage being done now.
Right. Okay, your last supplementary question, but question, not statement.
Yes, Speaker. In May 2019, there was a private notice question specifically on the need to have a specific legislation because this Safe City operates outside of the purview of the Data Protection Act because of the certificate of exemption. Therefore, the Data Protection Commissioner cannot take any sanctions. There is only a code of conduct, which is not so this issue was raised as far back as 2019. So it is not right to say it has a need.
Duval, I asked you specifically not to make a statement. It's a second statement you're making.
I put the question.
Yes.
Does the Prime Minister not think anymore that there's a risk of espionage and misuse of data collected by the safety people. Does he not think that anymore?
Prime Minister.
The Honourable Member says his father, I suppose, asked the PNQ in May 2019 when he was in the opposition. But he joined the government afterwards. You didn't do anything then. Then everything was okay. Everything was fine. You didn't. Didn't you sit in the chair? Nothing happened then. Then everything was okay. Now you're asking the question when I've stopped the
Let the Prime
espionage
Minister
of
speak.
individuals in this country.
That was the last question. That was your last question. Honourable third member for Maibourg and Plaine Magnan.
Madam Speaker, B469, please.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that promotion in the Mauritius Police Force, including the very important Person Security Unit, what is called DIPSU, is governed by Regulations 14 and 19 of the Disciplined Forces Service Commission Regulations of 1997. In line with these regulations, Police Standing Order number 16 provides that promotion within the police force is to be carried out as follows: by way of competitive examination by the Disciplined Forces Services Commission, 2, upon successful completion of approved courses, 3, as specialists within a specialized unit, and 4, on a seniority basis. Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that due to specialized nature of their duties and responsibilities, certain units of the police force, such as VIPSU, the Special Mobile Force, Engineering Squadron, National Coast Guard, Police Helicopter Squadron, National Security Service, Central Armory, Police Dog Unit, among others, are categorized as specialized units. Promotion within the unit is supposed to be done on the basis of experience, qualifications, merit, and seniority. But this was not the case. We've seen how people who had been promoted by my government after so many years, VIPSU personnel, have been, the promotion was removed. This is unprecedented, removed, and they were brought back to the original. 2 of them had to go to court, and they won their case. Now they're going to be reinstituted. As for the numbers, from January 2015 to November 2024, 543 police officers posted at VIPSU have been promoted to higher ranks as follows: 444 police officers of different ranks have been promoted as specialists. It is to be highlighted that 225 of them were promoted, believe it or not, in 2024 itself. 11 police constables have been promoted to the rank of police sergeant after having successfully passed the competitive examination, and 22 police corporals and 66 police constables reckoning at least 20 years service in the police force promoted to the rank of police sergeant. But as I said, Madam Speaker, all this was done as if they chose. This one will be promoted, this one will be degraded. This is how it was done.
Yes. Once more, Honourable, second member for Rivière des Anguilles, Souillac.
Question B470, s'il vous plaît.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the officer in charge of Airport Holdings Ltd that for the period of January 2023 to December 2024, 810 persons have been recruited at different positions. 810. And 754 of them have been recruited through advertising, and the remaining 53 just by headhunting. In other words, you come, you don't come. I'm tabling the information requested by the Honourable Member. Madam Speaker, I want to bring to the attention of the House that when we look at the recruitment level at the Mauritius Duty-Free Paradise, 115 people were recruited, believe it or not, on the 2nd of September 2024. Only, in other words, a few weeks prior to the dissolution of Parliament. In this specific case, those recruited were on probation for a period of only 6 months, which is again unusual, whereas the collective agreement between the union and the management stipulates that new integrated posts should be for a period of 1 year, not 6 months. This is yet another example, Madam Speaker, of malpractice under the previous government, as if institutions where they could do anything, forget the regulations, forget everything, they could just do anything because the country belonged to them.
Yes, Mr. Jhummun.
can the Honourable Prime Minister provide information as to whether these who have been recruited lately, will they be left and punished, or will we take actions against them?
All this is being looked at.
Happy? Yes. Now I have Mr. Rukni, third member for complimences.
Madam Speaker, question B471.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, with regard to part A of the question, I'm informed by the Managing Director of the Cargo Handling Corporation Ltd that presently there are 5 cranes at the Mauritius Container Terminal, and they are now fully operational. They were not before, they are now. With regard to part B of the question, I'm also informed that at the Cape, the Mauritius Container Terminal, which is operated by the Cargo Handling Corporation Ltd, is 800 meters long, and as such, 2 large container vessels of a capacity of 16,000 20-foot equivalent units, or a combination of 3 container feeder vessels, can be accommodated at any one time. The multipurpose terminal, on the other hand, has 4 quays to handle inter-island cargo, pure car carriers, livestock carriers, bulk coal, maize, soya bean meal vessels, as well as container vessels, as and when required. Each of them can accommodate 1 cargo vessel at a time. Madam Speaker, modernization and transformation of the portless harbour into an efficient port is a priority of this government. To that effect, in line with the government programme of 2025-2029, government recognizes that a modern and efficient seaport will be of critical importance to boost the competitiveness of our economy as a destination for foreign investment. There will therefore be a total revamping of the port and other infrastructure to support maritime economic activities. At the heart of this transformation is effective management. To that end, a new managing director of the Cargo Handling Corporation was appointed on the 12th of December 2024, and since then the port situation has witnessed substantial improvement. The level of absenteeism has dropped from 30% to 10%, and daily sick leaves from 120 to just 10, which means the management is doing the job properly. There is discipline. There is no ship waiting time, which was previously 6 days, thus ensuring quicker turnaround now. Weekly container moves have increased from 7,500 to 11,000. Bulk vessels are now being serviced within 3.5 to 4.5 days as compared to 6 to 7 days. As a testament to this progress, the Mediterranean Shipping Company has launched in March of this year a direct Beira-Mozambique route. This has significantly enhanced connectivity, reducing transit time for containers to 5 to 6 days compared to 40 days, Madam Speaker. As regards part C of the question, I'm informed that measures are being taken by both the Mauritius Ports Authority and the Cargo Handling Corporation to enhance efficiency and competitiveness of the port. These include the implementation of a business plan of the Cargo Handling Corporation, which has been approved by its board on the 2nd of May of this year. This plan aims to modernize operations, extend capacity, and strengthen competitiveness of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited. To that effect, the Cargo Handling Corporation is planning to invest over the next 5 years an amount of 5.3 billion rupees in the acquisition of state-of-the-art equipment, implementation of green initiatives, capacity building, and digitalization of operation. As an interim measure, procedures have been initiated by Cargo Handling Corporation for the leasing of 2 mobile harbour cranes to address the demand of additional transshipment volumes from shipping lines. In addition, as recommended in the Port Master Plan, the Mauritius Ports Authority will proceed with the expansion of the container yard of the Mauritius Container Terminal of an area of about 5 hectares. This project will increase the storage capacity of the terminal and will thus improve operational efficiency.
I've only got 1 minute left. Are you okay? We won't have time, unfortunately, for the next question.